Well, we got a call from Tallahassee. They wanted the Speaker of the House and the Florida Senate President. They go on a field trip after session every year, and this is their way of reaching out to South Florida, meeting with us to discuss exactly what happened during the session and what their work plan is going to be for next year.
This is a great opportunity to demonstrate how the influence of the Greater Fort Lauderdale Chamber of Commerce has in our community, not only downtown Fort Lauderdale, but Broward County wide.
Well, I hope that we'll have some questions about how important it is that Broward County gets its fair share out of Tallahassee. Certainly we send a lot of tax dollars up to Tallahassee, so we would like to be treated fairly, and it's important because the more that we get in funds for economic development and other worthy projects in Broward County, the more that we'll be able to deliver back to Tallahassee. So that's the message. If you help us, we can help you even more.
Port Everglades, putting funding into our deepening and widening project. The feds are now finally getting through our report, so we're going to be looking for the state for some additional help as well, and that creates a ton of jobs. The construction alone at the port will be 7,000 jobs. We've got about 2,100 over at the airport project, so we're making a real big impact. That's why Broward County's at 5.6% unemployment, so I think the projects are really making a difference.
I mean, we have a tremendous opportunity, as you see with the 595 expansion and things that are going on, to really bring a lot more commerce, and a lot of that travels through Tallahassee. And so working with those two gentlemen along with our delegation, I think proves well for South Florida.
There will be a lot of people who will focus on things we didn't do in session, and certainly there were things that we didn't accomplish, and there always are in a session. There are areas where you can't reach agreement. What I'm most proud of, though, are the things that we did accomplish, and I think we had a wonderful session when you look at it in aggregate. The first sign of that is usually when a session is over, the Senate President and the Speaker run around the state blaming each other for why certain things didn't happen. They would never show up in the same place at the same time talking about what they actually accomplished. And the reason for that, and the reason that we're here today, is because at the very beginning, the onset of our opportunity to be Speaker of the House and President of the Senate, he and I decided we wanted to work together. We didn't want to have 12 o'clock, midnight meltdowns in the legislative sessions. We didn't want to have a blame session at the end and talk about, well, we didn't get this done because it's their fault or their fault. We said, how could we work together? And so we did something that in modern history I haven't seen a Senate President or Speaker do, which is we said, what if we had a joint agenda? What if instead of us having a House agenda and a Senate agenda, what if we actually got together and said, what are some things we could do that we think would make a difference in the state of Florida? And you would think that that shouldn't be something that's rare in politics, but in Tallahassee, it is.
I really appreciate the chance, as well as the Speaker does, to be here. And Speaker Weatherford and I have visited several places around the state in recent weeks following the session, not just to come and talk about what the session did and didn't do, but also to listen to your ideas for what we ought to do in the next session.
What I want you to know is, what you can be confident in is your leadership, both locally and at the state level, are communicating with each other. And as long as we're talking, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, if they have respect for each other and we're willing to listen to each other's opposing views, we can get things done. And I think we showed that this session. And we didn't get everything done. But the good news is we've got another session. And we've got plenty of time to work on those. So I look forward to hearing from you in the business community what you think is important. As you know, Florida is on a hot streak. Our unemployment rate statewide is 7%. I'm amazed to hear that your unemployment rate right here is less than 6%. That's phenomenal. We have 1,000 people moving into the state of Florida every single day. Did you know that? To me, it's the most important and probably relevant statistic that is out there. At the height of our growth, in 2005, 2006, the estimates were about 1,250 to 1,300 people a day were moving into Florida. We are already back to 1,000 people a day. Moody's thinks 360,000 people are going to move to Florida in 2013. That creates wonderful opportunities. Our budget's going to have more money. Our real estate values are going up. It's creating jobs and economic prosperity, but it also brings challenges, as we know. We've been down the growth roads before. But I got to tell you, if our biggest problem over the next couple of years is growth, is that we're growing too fast, that's a problem I'm looking forward to.